Marketing has become completely unhinged. The more you look on socials, the more you are bombarded with brands who are going viral for their ridiculous social media strategy. From Duolingo to Slim Jim and Ryanair, today we're going to be going through 15 of the internet's most unhinged brands on social media and ranking them on this tier list based on their effectiveness. The popularity of unhinged social media accounts has been increasing. More and more you're seeing brands post memes, make mascots, post shady or sometimes even out of touch comments, and make jokes about these social media interns running the account and how they're about to get fired. But the truth is, these aren't unpaid interns running anything. They are full-scale social media strategies that they are paying a lot of people a lot of money to run. There are many opinions from marketers and consumers alike regarding unhinged social media brands, from proponents like Zaria, the creative genius behind Duolingo, to opponents like self-described naysayer Jack Appleby. But I think the truth lies somewhere on the spectrum. Some brands doing unhinged behaviors are great, they're iconic, and they're really the blueprint, and some are imitators, flops, and embarrassments. And today we're going to be going over 15 brands to see where they stand. For our judging criteria today, we are going to discuss: number 1, is the content funny? Do I laugh? Number 2, is the content relevant to the product? And number 3, is it risky? Are they posting some takes that might actually hurt the brand? So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so first we have Duolingo. If you don't know what Duolingo is, it's a daily language learning app. Duolingo really is the blueprint, especially if you're looking on their TikTok. It's pretty hilarious. They have almost 10 million followers, which is pretty insane. We can go ahead and watch some.
I've been married a long time ago. What do you come from? What year to go? What do you come from? Bucalado.
Just insane, random. I love to read the comments as well on a lot of these to see how effective they are. Add this language or I'm deleting Duolingo. Very funny. Duolingo, I started a streak. Can I please have my family back? No, they're busy filming me. So clearly, obviously, you don't only just have sort of the meme video content, but you also have the like shady, silly comments, which I think is really important in tandem. And these videos are like always doing numbers. Like this one's from 2 days ago and it has over 2 million views. Imagine if Duo got a low taper fade. Literally, it says Duolingo unhinged for real, and they are. Especially with their mascot as well. People love this mascot. They really have a full strategy around this. They do the memes, they do videos, they do comment strategy, they have a mascot. They're kind of approaching their social media from like multiple different angles. Via the criteria, is it funny? Yes, I do think it is funny. Is it relevant to the product? I actually do think it is relevant to the product. Even though it's definitely kind of like adjacent, a lot of times the comments are still talking about the product. For instance, in that first video, people were saying like, put this language on Duolingo. So that is a connection there. One of their most viewed videos is also about ignoring their notifications they send to your phone every day. So, you know, it's definitely intertwined with their users. And number 3, is it risky? There have been a couple times where Duolingo have gotten a little bit in trouble for some of their risky comments. So they have been a little risky, but I don't think anything that's really affected how their consumers view their app. So I think overall, they still have to get an S tier. They are really the blueprint, I think, and quite a genius social media team behind their app. Next, we're gonna take a look at Scrub Daddy. If you don't know what Scrub Daddy is, it's like a sponge.
What's up, motherfuckers?
Holy cow. I don't even know if I can post all of this in this video. They are really raunchy. Not even sure I can repeat what they're saying because I'm also on a brand account right now and not sure we're quite as unhinged as them. They're cursing in their videos. They're making many innuendos.
This is just a friendly reminder that if you're using a Scrub Daddy for a while and it starts to look like this,
You need to
then it
leave.
might be time to get a new one.
So that's actually their most recent post. It has almost 1 million views, so obviously something's working. Is it funny? Yes, to me. I could see a world where maybe older people with a different appetite for raunchiness and just social media differences. I can't even speak because I'm like still processing the videos that I saw earlier that I can't show you. I could see some people being a little bit offended by this content though, but I actually do think it's funny. They're using relevant memes, they're using video, which I think is obviously spot on right now just for people's social media diets. It is relevant to the product. The product is always front and center in most of these videos, whether that just be the little smiley face of the guy or actually even promoting the product. The one I couldn't show you that is still haunting me is actually like a product announcement for their all-purpose cream. So I actually do think it's super relevant. Is it risky? Like I said, I do think it's risky. I think this marketing works really well for like a younger Gen Z consumer with a Gen Z humor. But if, you know, your mom or your grandma or grandpa might be on TikTok and you got them on and they're following their favorite brands and they come across this, they might be a little mortified. And I do think they're a little bit riskier than Duolingo. With risk comes high reward, which I think has worked for them. It also comes with, you know, alienating a certain type of consumer. So I think it's hilarious, but I am going to put it at the A tier, not the S tier, just because it's a little bit more grating than the S tier, but I do think it's effective. Next up, we've got Ryanair, which has 2.2 million followers. If you don't know Ryanair, it is an airline that is famous for kind of nickel and diming and being really cheap. Okay, interestingly, I'm seeing actually a couple of the same exact memes between the Duolingo and Ryanair account. I'm seeing that same song,
Oh, I've been married.
and I'm also seeing both have the memes about the low taper fade, which is interesting. It does make me wonder which account was first. Is it Ryanair or Duolingo? Like, who's more on top of it?
What if, and just hear me out for a second, you shut them.
Okay, they do have some good content, though, that is pretty unique. Like I said, they're kind of famous for nickel and diming people, so they are leaning into that. Those are kind of the reviews, actually. I also love that they have sort of created their own mascot as well, just with the plane with eyes on it and the mouth. It's like a filter that they're using, and I actually think it's really effective. They've created a mascot without actually even needing to dress up, which is pretty nice. And then you can see the comments again, POV, Ryanair social media killing it, haha, love this, love Ryanair's sense of humor. I want to work for Ryanair marketing. I am going to look, though, whether Duolingo or Ryanair posted these memes at the same time. The one by Duolingo, the Cotton Eye Joe song, was actually posted first, which is interesting. But Low Taper Fade was only 2 days ago, so Ryanair was earlier on that one. So it kind of seems like, you know, neither one is copying the other. They're kind of both probably getting inspiration from each other, honestly. So I can't like ding either one of them. So is it funny? Yes, I do think it's funny. Is it relevant? I do think it is relevant. There's almost always planes in their videos. It's also videos over static posts, which I think works well and is relevant just in terms of social media. Is it risky? I don't think it's really too risky, honestly. If people are already having these critiques about Ryanair being, you know, cheap and nickel and diming people, I don't think diving into that is really that big of a risk because people are going to think that anyway. That's just their strategy. You know, they make their flights really cheap, really, really, really cheap. And then if you want extra things like extra bags or whatever, like you have to pay extra. And so in that case, like if they are not going to change their strategy for pricing, I actually think it's funny. All that being said, kind of hits high marks across the board for me. I'm going S tier. I think Ryanair is really slaying it, honestly. Next up, we'll do Hootsuite. If you don't know what Hootsuite is, it's more of a B2B company. As you can see, most of these companies so far have been B2C. So they're targeting like individuals, whereas Hootsuite is likely targeting other businesses to sell their product to. Hootsuite does things like managing content, scheduling social media content. I wanted to make sure we had a B2B company on here because I think it is different and interesting. So I liked that they leaned into working with creators. They worked with this creator who makes like fake graphic design videos. They also have a mascot. They had an original mascot from a few years ago, and then now they have a different one that's red, maybe even based on this design that she made for them. Social media managers leaving a spicy comment on another brand account. I think that's funny because they are targeting social media managers. This is the, you know, group they're going after. Even though the video only has 7,000 views. For a B2B brand, this can be really effective. If those are truly 7,000 social media managers watching this, being exposed to the product, like that is worth maybe more than 7 million views would be for a B2C brand who's just focusing on consumers and a free product. I don't know if that's true, but it's possible if all those social media marketers decide to sign up for Hootsuite and become paying members. You know, it's a different scale is different, I think, for B2B accounts.
We're social media managers. No, we're not going to teach your parents how to use Instagram.
Social media managers, we bring a tripod everywhere we go.
So yeah, Hootsuite, I think they're doing some good things. I do like that they have a mascot. Their content does seem relevant to their target audience, which I think is really important. I don't think it's quite as comedic. It doesn't quite hit the first bracket for me of like, it's funny, but I do think it is clever and cheeky, and it is relevant to the product because they're focused on social media managers. They need to be on video, and so they're doing a good job of, you know, having a video presence, I think, which is really important to meet their customers where they're at. Is it risky? No, but I don't really think that it needs to be risky. I'm not actually sure that that would help them because they're targeting, you know, brands. I don't know that being like super brand unprofessional would do them any good. A part of me does wonder though if they are kind of copying Duolingo with the mascot thing, you know, and they're both birds. So for that reason, I'm going to put Hootsuite in B tier. You know, it's not hilarious and it does have a little bit of like copycat energy, but I do think it could still be successful. I think it's a reasonably good social media strategy, above average. So next up, we're going to go for McDonald's. Oh my God.
Get ready with me. Ready.
Okay. Okay, their TikTok, I feel like, is not amazing. Let's check out their Twitter. Attenzione, pickpocket. They had some funny memes on Twitter about pretending not to see the Grimace shake trend, which is about, like, Grimace, like, as the young people say, unaliving people. So, you know, they, like, dabbled in that, but they really aren't too risky. They are so ubiquitous that I feel like if they said anything that would upset like anyone, the repercussions of that are greater than I feel like any social media account could give in a way. Like people already go to McDonald's all the time. I guess I like that they're like dabbling in memes and sort of being unhinged, but they're really not all the way there. I don't think they need to be though. It's average social media strategy to me. Not sure. I'm not sure. So I'm going to put it at C tier. Next, I'm going to go for Liquid Death, which is a water company.
Introducing Liquid Death's new Greatest Hates Volume 3. 10 sassy songs with lyrics taken straight from real hate comments featuring
Is this
worst
real?
name.
They're really doing like stunts. I do respect it though, because they're like marketing literal water and they've been really good at it. They have like a ton of partnerships and most of them are memey and trolly. They're not really like responding to people and like taking part in like tons of discourse. They're highly produced videos. They're not quite as like memey. Is it funny? I think there are some funnier ones. I can't really show you though because they're a little bit raunchy, I think. I don't think they're like hilarious because they are so highly produced and I'm just someone who likes that like unhinged behavior. Is it relevant to the product? Yes. I mean, it's water. I think it's very impressive with how they've been able to market water. So I'm going to give them B. All right, next up, we will do Wendy's, obviously fast food. Even just like quickly going into these videos, they're not like capturing my attention really. It seems like they're using a lot of UGC content, user-generated content, which isn't capturing me necessarily when I see like the TikTok logo of someone else's account. What about their Twitter? Okay, so they are beefing with McDonald's, it looks like, which is interesting. Here's the McDonald's arch on fire. Things that get worse as they get better. Talking about McDonald's. They aren't really keeping up so much though. They don't post that often and they're only sometimes funny. So I'm going to put it down here as well with McDonald's because is it funny? Eh. Is it relevant to their product? Eh. And is it risky? Not really. I don't know that they want to be. I do like that they are kind of being a little bit riskier though, punching up at McDonald's because McDonald's is obviously like the bigger brand. So I do like to see that. All right, next we're doing Bush's Beans.
Whatever you do not spill it. Nailed it.
Funny, kind of. Okay, that's funny. When you said something funny, but my chili is still hot and it's RuPaul laughing.
Is that? It's chilly outside.
Oh my god. Okay. So they're definitely making these videos cheesy. They definitely have a bit more of like, I feel like, dare I say, I hope this doesn't offend anyone, like millennial humor over like Gen Z humor. They're not being as like unhinged, but they are leaning into like the cheesiness, which I think is more of like a millennial like dad joke vibe. In a way, I actually feel like it's kind of nice because there's so many brands going after this Gen Z unhinged humor that like maybe the millennial humor is being untapped by brands. So I'm going to put in Bushes into B tier. I don't know why I put Zoom on here. For some reason, I thought I saw something Unhinged, but like now I'm going back and it's not really Unhinged at all. I'm just going to leave it here. Okay, next up we have National Park Service, which is mostly big on Twitter, I think, so I'll check that out. So they're kind of funny, you know, hello, I've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. There's a bear trying to get into a car. This sea otter heard it was Friday, which means nothing to the sea otter. They almost always are using animals in the memes, and then they go through a bunch of replies telling you and educating you about them, which I think is actually really cool. They capture your attention with the meme and they give you, you know, what they want you to know. I think also it's nice because this is a, you know, government organization. This isn't like a company that's, you know, making tons of money from their product. This is like a public service. And so I think it's actually cool that they're trying to extend that public service to the public and really get people to show up and enjoy the national parks that, you know, we do have. Because I think they realize, like, especially younger people probably don't get out to parks as much. And so they're meeting young people where they might be, which is online. Not quite as unhinged, but definitely cute. I will give it a B. All right, next up we'll do Slim Jim.
Is Slim Jim the CEO of verified comments? Tag us in your videos and find out.
Buying a Slim Jim with a robot. Okay. It's kind of funny. This is very cool. And what's nice for them is, again, I think this is UGC, so they didn't have to do anything. Jim Meat is calling. Slim Jim is definitely kind of, again, like the blueprint. I remember them going viral years ago. They're definitely reaching younger guys, is sort of their target audience. Innuendos and jokes. I don't think this would work for everybody, but based on their target audience, I do think it works. It's sort of like lowbrow humor, which I also kind of think makes sense because like Slim Jim is treated as like a lowbrow snack. So I'm going to put it in A tier because I feel like they could maybe broaden who this is funny for a little bit. But next we have Crocs, which I think Crocs is actually really interesting. So this video was obviously like for a larger campaign. They did the Shrek Crocs. That video has 35 million views. So while I don't know that they're like posting, you know, tons of like unhinged meme behavior, they're definitely meeting the moment in terms of like, they know young people are having a return of love to Crocs. They know that like Shrek is a big meme and they married that together and it was very successful. They're meeting like the fashion desires of people as well. They're like making big chunky heels or platform Crocs. So I don't know that their like social media is actually that unhinged, but sort of their designs are really creative and a little bit unhinged. So I'm going to give them a B for that. Next up, we have Opera GX. They're really gaming culture memes, mostly. When the video game got NPCs that match your walking speed when following you. Very relatable. Evil browsers. Again, I think this is a case of like, I don't know that I find all this funny, but I do think they're doing a good job of, you know, meeting their people where they're at, which are probably like younger boys and girls, gamers. They also are more unhinged than I can probably show on here. So I am going to put it in B tier. They're a little more unhinged than these other brands, but not hilarious to me. Next, we'll do Home Depot. They've had a couple of big viral moments. You know, using Home Depot materials, they were able to recreate their song that's so iconic. They have some fun games on here as well, like find the bucket in the picture. But it's hard for me to understand exactly what their social media strategy is, I feel like. Some of them are sort of feeling like they're for younger people, but also they have things on, you know, how to do things, how to fix a running toilet, which is great content, but I'm not sure that it's like all one sort of place for one type of person. And they've had some big viral moments, but I'm not sure the rest of the content like met that moment to follow that up. So I'm going to put it in C tier just because I'm not sure that they have like a cohesive strategy that makes people want to come back. They've sort of had like hits and they've experimented with different types of formats. And I think several of them actually could work, but they need to like focus in on one so that one type of person wants to come back to the Home Depot account. Lastly, we have Washington Post, which is obviously the news source. This guy, Dave, is really popular and has sort of made their account iconic.
Concert in Tokyo has ended. She should be on a
He
flight to
uses
Las
like
Vegas
tons
as
of
we
green
speak.
screens. There's a million of him always running around in the video. And he's always reporting on news in a really digestible way that is like somewhat comedic, but also, you know, gives the facts, which I think is helpful for younger people who might not read. Again, it's meeting people where they're at. I think they're really going for a Gen Z and millennial audience here that might not watch traditional news sources, probably doesn't read the news either, but might find news sources on TikTok and little clips to inform them really useful.
In 3, 2, 1, do it! It's official. We're now Bed Bath & Beyond as opposed to Overstock.com.
I really like when he pops up and gives me some information that I definitely probably wouldn't have known before. Not over the top in terms of its craziness, but it definitely has elements of being really silly. It's crafted and edited really well, but also using like a humorous style. It's super relevant, I think, giving out news stories. That's their whole thing. And is it risky? I don't think it's really risky. If they're going to be putting out, you know, news articles about the same thing, I don't think a video about it is going to hurt at all. So I would put Washington Post in A tier. It's not quite as unhinged as the other ones, but I think it's really, really effective, and it does reach sort of that younger audience as well. So yeah, that's my tier list. I guess no D and F tier. Maybe I'm too nice with these brands. Maybe next time I'll do my tier list and I'll be really mean. All right, you guys, so that is my ranking of the most unhinged brands on social media. Let me know if you agree or disagree, or if I missed anything from this list, let me know, because I'm always interested in following some really strange accounts online. I think the main takeaways are that if a brand is like super, super ubiquitous, sometimes I think there's a risk of being unhinged, although if they're like kind of niche and still could capture a larger audience, like it can be a good thing. I also think that videos are really effective right now. So if you're a brand, you're not using video, even if you're not going unhinged, but you know, just make videos is always a good tip for, I feel like, any brand in marketing right now. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe for more tier lists and let me know what you want me to rank next, and I'll see you guys in the next one.